Welcome to Biology CET class. Today's CET topic on morphology of flowering plants. Before going to solve CET question, let me summarize whole chapter. What is morphology? Morphology means study of external structure of flowering plants. Why only a flowering plants? Because they show large diversity in external structures like root, stem, leaves, flowers and fruits. In flowering plants, it bears two systems. One is underground part called root system and another one above ground is called shoot system. So now we will study about root. So this root arises from the radicle of an embryo and the root is a descending part of the plant axis. Means it grow downward. And it is negatively phototrophic, means growth away from the sunlight. Positively geotrophic means the growth towards the gravitational force, and positively hydrotrophic means the growth of the plant towards the higher relative humidity level. So next is the region of the roots. So the plants has many regions. First, at the apex it has a root cap. The root cap protects the root, tender roots, that two tender roots. Above this root cap it has a actively dividing cells. That region is called region of meristematic activity, and above this region of meristematic activity, once a cell attain division, it start to elongate and enlarge. So that region is called region of elongation. Above this region of elongation called region of maturation. After elongation, the cell differentiate and mature. So some of the cells in the region of maturation start the growth of a thread-like structure which is called a root hair. So what is the function of the root? Root helps for the absorption of water and minerals, and it helps in the anchorage, that is provide the anchorage to the plants, storage of reserve food materials and synthesis of plant growth regulators. And the next is the types of the roots. Types of root, it has three types of root: tap root, fibrous root, adventitious root. Tap root, as I already told, root arises from the radicle of an embryo. When the radicle start to elongate, that root is called primary root. So here in the tap root, it has a primary root, along with it has a lateral roots. So that termed as a tap root. Example is dicot like mustard, gram, etc. In the fibrous root, primary root is replaced by large number of roots at its base of the stem. Example, monocots, wheat, rice, etc. Adventitious roots, in the adventitious root arises from the parts of the plant other than the radicle. Example, grass, banyan, monastra, etc. Next is, other than the function of anchorage, the root also perform other functions. To perform this function, it modified the roots into a different shape and structure. So first is modification for the storage of food. First comes the taproot. In the taproot, it has many types: conical root, example carrot; fusiform root, example radish; napiform root, example turnip, beetroot. In the adventitious root, it has a tuberous root, example sweet potato; and in fasciculated root, example asparagus. Even some of the root helps in the mechanical support. Example, prop root. Example for prop root is banyan tree. As you have, in the banyan tree, the root develop vertically downward. In the next is stilt root. Example, sugarcane, maize. Next is climbing root. Example, piper, beetle. Even some of the root modified for vital function. And first one is assimilated root. This helps in the photosynthesis, Tinospora, Trapa, etc. Parasitic root, Cuscuta. Epiphytic root, orchids. Both this parasitic root, epiphytic root depends on the other plants. Respiratory roots, example Rhizophora. Here the root develop vertically upward and they help for the respiration. This is about the root. Next comes the stem. So in the stem, it is the ascending part of the axis bearing branches, leaves. Ascending part means growing upward. and it develops from the plumula of the embryo. The stem bears nodes and internodes. You can look at the picture. It has a nodes and internodes. At each node it has a leaves. So the distance between two nodes is termed as a internode. The function of the stem is it helps in the conduction of water and minerals, and even it also helps for the photosynthesis. Like root, even the stem modified their structure for other functions like storage and vegetative propagation. Example: potato, ginger, turmeric, zamicon, colocasia, etc. For mechanical support, climbers, grounds, cucumber, pumpkin, watermelon, crab vines. Defensive purpose, here in the citrus, bougainvillea, stem is modified into thorns. Photosynthesis in Opuntia, it is modified into phylloclade. Euphorbia also. In example for vegetative propagation, grass, strawberry, jasmine, mint, pistia, eichhornia, chrysanthemum. And just have a look at this picture, you will get an idea. So in the rhizome, ginger, when ginger is modified into stem, that is termed as rhizome. Potato, it is called as tuber, and banana plant, it is called as sucker, and in the lemon tree, it is called as a thorns, and in cucumber, it is a tendrils, mechanical support. Mint plant, stolon, pistia, offset stem. So next is the leaf. The leaf is a lateral generally flattened structure borne on the stem. As I already told, at the nodes leaf arises. It develops at the node and bears a bud in its axil. The axillary bud later develops into a branch. Leaves originate from shoot apical meristem and are arranged in an acropetal order. Acropetal order means younger at the tip, older at the base. They are the most important vegetative organs for photosynthesis. So the main function of the leaf is it helps for the photosynthesis. Even the leaf has many parts. Leaf base, where the leaf attached to the stem, it is called leaf base. Petiole, the stalk of the leaf is called petiole. Lamina, leaf load, the green expanded part is nothing but the lamina. At the lamina, it has a veins. At the center, it has a midrib. This is structure of a leaf. The main function of the leaf is photosynthesis. Based on the network which is present on the, based on the veins, the leaf is of two types. One is reticulate venation, another one parallel venation. Reticulate venation, the veins form a network. The veins are in the form of network. It is called a reticulate venation. Whereas in the parallel venation, the veins run parallelly. It is called parallel venation. And in the leaves, it has two types of leaves: simple leaf and compound leaf. In simple leaf, the lamina is not divided. Lamina is nothing but a green expanded structure in the leaf. It is called lamina. So this lamina does not divide in the simple leaf, whereas in the compound leaf, lamina is divided into number of leaflets. Lamina is divided into number of leaflets. Again, this compound leaves of two types: palmately compound leaves, pinnately compound leaves. Palmately compound leaves, here the leaflets arise at the common point, whereas in the pinnately compound leaves arise at the common axis. That common axis is also called rachis. And the next is the phyllotaxy. Phyllotaxy means the arrangement of leaves on the stem and its branches. Again, the phyllotaxy is of three types. First one, alternate. Alternate means single leaf arises at each node. You can see this picture, alternate leaves, and in opposite, part of leaves arises pair of leaves. Pair of leaves arises at each node and lie opposite. In the whorl, more than two leaves at node and form whorls. Example for alternate: China rose, mustard, sunflower. Opposite, calotropis, guava. For whorl, alstonia. Next, even like stem and root, leaves also modified their structure. First one is leaf tendril. In pea, the leaf is modified into tendrils for the climbing purpose. Spines in the cacti for the defense purpose and to reduce transpiration. In onion, fleshy leaves. It is reduced into fleshy leaves for food storage. In acacia, it is modified into phylloclade for photosynthesis. Pitcher plant and Venus flytrap, they are called insectivorous leaves because to meet nitrogen fixation. And next, just look at this pictures you will get an idea. So onion, where the fleshy leaves it has, and reduced stem you can observe, it is termed as bulb. And in Opuntia, leaf is modified into spines. In garden pea, it is modified into tendrils. In pitcher plant, it is modified for the insectivorous plants. Next comes the inflorescence. So inflorescence means some of the shoot apical meristem where shoot apical meristem changes to floral meristem. So when shoot apical meristem transferred into a flower, it will be always solitary, that is single. If the arrangement of flowers on the floral axis is termed as inflorescence. There are two types of inflorescence, racemose and cymose. So racemose means the main axis continues to grow. If you look at the picture, that is red flower, the stalk of the stem, it is continuously growing. If you look at this yellow flower, the stalk of that is not growing continuously, it has a limited growth. So the next in this racemose, flowers are borne laterally in an acropetal. As I already, acropetal means younger at the tip, older at the base. And in the cymose, flowers are borne in a basipetal succession, that is younger at the base, older at the tip. Example for racemose, radish, mustard. Example for cymose, jasmine, bougainvillea. Next, let us study about the parts of the flower. So the flower, it is a reproductive unit in angiosperm. It is meant for sexual reproduction. Flower has 4 different kinds of orals arranged successively on a swollen end of stalk or pedicel called thalamus. So if you look at this green color structure, on this green color structure all orals are present. This swollen region is called thalamus. So on the thalamus it has calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium. Calyx, corolla are called accessory organs or non-essential organs. Androecium, gynoeciums are called reproductive organ. Based on the presence of androecium and gynoecium, flowers are divided into 2 types, bisexual and unisexual. Bisexual means both androecium and gynoecium present in the same flower. Unisexual means the stamen present on the other flower and gynoecium present on the other flower. And based on the symmetry, again flower is of 3 types, actinomorphic, zygomorphic, asymmetrical. In the actinomorphic, it divided into 2 equal radial orbs. Example, mustard. In zygomorphic, it is divided into 2 similar orbs. And whereas in the asymmetrical, it cannot be divided. Next, based on the presence of this petals like calyx and corolla, it is based on the number of presence, calyx, corolla, it is termed as trimerous, tetramerous, pentamerous. If it has 3, it is trimerous. If it has 4 petals, it is called tetramerous. If it has 5, pentamerous. So even this based on the presence of ovary on thalamus and also other orals, it is of 3 types, hypogynous, perigynous, epigynous. Hypogynous means all orals are present below the ovary, that is called hypogynous, and the ovary is called as ovary superior. Example, China rose, mustard, brinjal. Whereas in the perigynous, half of the orals half of the ovaries present within the orals. It is called ovary inferior. Example, plume, peach, rose. Epigynous, of superior, of inferior, because here where all orals are present above the ovary. And example, guava, cucumber, ray floret of sunflower. Next comes the parts of the flower, non-essential. Let us study about the parts of the flower. If the calyx are fused, it is called gamosyphilis. If calyx are free, it is called polysyphilis. If calyx are in corolla, if corolla is free, it is called polypetalous. If it is fused, it is called gamopetalous. And next is aestivation. Aestivation means the arrangement of sepals or petals. Arrangement of sepals or petals is in a flower bud is called estivation. It is of 5 types: valvate, twisted, imbricate, quincunx, axillary. Valvate means here the sepals or petals are touch one another without overlapping, whereas in twisted, here the sepals or petals overlap with one margin, whereas in imbricate, here they overlap in a different direction, not in a same direction. In quincunxal, again here same as like imbricate, but here 2 petals out, 2 petals in, one is in and out. In the axillary, it has a standard petal and 2 wings petal and 2 keel petal which are fused. Example for valvate: calotropis, twisted China rose, imbricate cassia, quincunxal guava, axillary P. And next is the androecium. In the androecium is nothing but a male reproductive organ in the flower. It has 2 parts, that is filament and anther. If the androecium is fused to petals, it is called epipetalous. If androecium is fused to tepals, it is called epiphyllous. And based on the number of presence of bundles of androecium, it has of 3 types. Monoadelphous: if stamens are united into one bundle, it is called monoadelphous. Example China rose. Diadelphous: 2 bundles. Example P. Polyadelphous: more than 2 bundles. Example citrus. Next comes the gynoecium. Gynoecium is a female reproductive organ. It has a carpels. In the carpel, it has a ovary which is a base style which connects the stigma and the ovary. Again, based on the carpus, it is divided into apocarpus and syncarpus. If the carpels are free, it is called apocarpus. Example lotus. If the carpels are fused, it is called mustard. So this is about the gynoecium. Next comes the placentation. Placentation means the arrangement of ovules within a ovary. It is called a placentation. It is of 5 types. Marginal, where the ovules present on the margin, that is ridge, it is called marginal. Example P. Axial, in the axial position, that is at the center, and with it has a septa. Example lemon, China rose, tomato. Next is parietal. At the periphery region, ovules are present. Argemone, mustard. Free central, here there is no septa in the free central, hence it is called free central. Example primrose, dianthus. Next is the basal. Ovary is present at the base and it contains only one ovule. Example sunflower, marigold. Next, the fruit. It is a matured or ripened ovary developed after fertilization. Fruit developed without fertilization called parthenocarpic fruit. The fruit consists of a wall of pericarp and seed. This pericarp again differentiated into outer epicarp, mesocarp and inner endocarp. So if you look at this diagram, you can see the fruit you can study about a drop. This mango and coconut is an example for type of fruit that is called drupe. So mango here, epicarpus thin layer, whereas mesocarpus edible, endocarpus thick. Whereas in coconut, it has a fleshy skin or epicarp, hard shell, dry husk mesocarp and hard shell endocarp. This is what the fruit. Next comes the seed. The ovules after fertilization. Seed means the ovules after fertilization developed into seed, made up of seed coat and an embryo. Embryo is made up of a radicle, embryonal axis and 2 cotyledons. So if you look at these 2 seeds, you can differentiate between dicotyledon seed and monocotyledon seed. In dicotyledon seed, it has a ileum. At that ileum seed is attached. At that ileum, it has a scar-like structure called small pore called microphyll. So and it has a cotyledon. At the middle of that cotyledon, it has a embryonal axis. So above which is grow, above it is called primula, which is grow, below it is called radicle. And some plants has a food storing materials capacity, it's called endosperm. Some doesn't have endosperm. In the monocotyledon, it has a embryo at the one end of the endosperm and above that embryo it has a endosperm, and this endosperm is covered by a proteinaceous layer called alluring layer, and below that it has a scutellum, which is a shell-like structure, and plumular radicle. This radicle is covered by coleorhiza, plumula is covered by coleoptile. This is the structure of dicotyledon seed and monocotyledon seed. And the next is, just look at this semi-technical description of a flower. We can't describe a flower by a large word. So, it is each term is denoted by a letter. K stand for calyx, C for corolla, P for perianth, A for androecium, and G for gynoecium. G, if a line present below the G, it is superior ovary. If the line present above the G, it is inferior ovary. And this symbol is for male and mirror like female. If both male and female present in a same plant, bisexual. If plus present, it is actinomorphic. If the percentage symbol, it is a zygomorphic. So just I'll say some of the important points of Fabaceae. In the Fabaceae, at the root it contains a root nodules, and the flower is zygomorphic, and at the calyx it is arranged in a imbricate aestivation. Corolla, as I already told, it has a waxillary aestivation, that is standard wing keel. Here it has a monoadelphous or a diadelphous. Gynoecium, ovary superior, monocarpillary, unilocular. Fruit is legume and it is non-endospermic. Just learn this floral formula of Fabaceae. It will help for the Neet or CET exam. And economic importance, sources of pulses, that is gram, soybean, and medicine mulaythai, edible oil, groundnut, soybean, and whereas ornamental, lupin, sweet pea. And next is ornament dye, indigofera, fibrous sunhemp, and fodder, Cbse. And the next, just look at this floral diagram. Solanaceae, in the Solanaceae it has a main characters like it has a pinnately compound leaf, and mainly it is called a potato family, and at the flower it is actinomorphic, calyx, gamosepalous, and persistent calyx. It has a persistent calyx, and at androecium it is a epipetalous, gynoecium it has a obliquely placed ovary. Fruit is berry and capsule, and it is an endosperm. Economic importance, source of food, tomato, brinjal, potato, medicine, ashwagandha, fumigatory tobacco, ornamental, petunia. Again, look at this floral diagram. It will helpful for your Neet exam. Liliaceae, it is commonly called lily family. Root is fibrous because it is a monocot. It has a fibrous root system. Stem, underground bulb, corms, rhizome, perennial herbs. Leaves is mostly basal, alternate. Here the important floral characters is inflorescence umbellate, flower actinomorphic, perianth. It has tepals 3+3. So whereas in dicot plants we call calyx as sepals, corolla as petals, but in the monocot we term it as a perianth. Perianth is nothing but sepals plus petals, it is tepals 3+3. So androecium tepalous, gynoecium ovary superior, tricarpillary, axial placentation. Economic important, good ornamentals, tulip gloriosa example. Source of medicine example aloe vera. Vegetable asparagus, colchis is an example for vegetables. So have a look at this floral diagram. So now I'll solve some of the important questions, which will be helpful for your CET or Neet exam. First question is, which one of the following types of root does not develop from radicle? First option, taproot. As I already explained in the root, taproot is developed from the primary root. The primary root is nothing but radicle. So first option is wrong. Adventitious roots. So adventitious roots. So just look at taproot and fibrous roots is developed from radicle. Stilt root, it is a modified structure of a root. So the three options are wrong. Adventitious roots is right. So as I already mentioned while explaining root, so the root which is developed other than the radicle, it is called adventitious roots. Right answer is adventitious roots. And the next is Next question is, the direct elongation of radical leads to the formation of which root? Direct elongation. In the previous question only, I already told the direct elongation of radical leads to the formation of primary root. So after that it bears a lateral roots, it is termed as secondary root. So the correct answer is primary root. Next one is, what is the height of the potato tuber? What is the height of the potato tuber is called? Nodes with axillary bud, internodes cause root bases. Correct answer is nodes with axillary bud, because the axillary bud of the tubes are called, axillary bud of the potato tubers are called eyes. They are found at the nodes of the stem tuber. Hence answer is nodes with axillary bud. And the next is, fibrous root system is better adopted than taproot system for transport of organic matter, absorption of water and minerals, storage of food, anchorage of plant to soil. All A, B, C same function performed by both root. But in the taproot system, it has only primary root. It bears a lateral roots at its side. But fibrous roots, the primary root itself is replaced by many roots at its base. So it helps for the anchorage of plant to soil. It strongly holds the plants to the soil compared to a taproot system. So next is, leaf lamina modifies into leaf pitcher in which plant it modified into leaf pitcher? Example, nepenthes. In Pisceum it is modified into enteral. Ficus, a wrong answer. In Utricularia is also a wrong answer. And the next comes, an underground specialized shoot with reduced disc-like stem covered by fleshy leaves is where this just remember modification of stem, where you can observe this fleshy leaves. Rhizome is an example for ginger. Stolon, it is also, mint is an example for stolon. Offset pistia. So bulb. So you can observe in the bulb, example is onion. In onion you can observe fleshy leaves and reduced disc-like stem. Reduced disc-like stem covered by fleshy leaves. So answer is bulb. The next question is, ginger is a stem and not a root. Ginger is a stem, not a root, because why ginger is a stem, not a root? Because ginger is a rhizome. It is a modified stem of a plant that usually grows horizontally underground. So it grows parallel to soil surface. So it is a wrong answer. And it needs a chlorophyll. It lacks a chlorophyll. They had said it lacks a chlorophyll. So it is also a wrong answer. And it generally part of a plant that bears no leaves and therefore lack nodes, and ginger is a stem, not root. Thus correct answer that nodes and internodes. It has a nodes and internodes because ginger grow horizontally, not parallelly, and it's and where it has a photosynthesis nature also. Next comes the, which of the following is this false statement? Phylloclade are photosynthetic in function. Yes, phylloclade are photosynthetic in function. In Opuntia, the stem is modified into phylloclade. Bulbs of garlic and onion have greatly reduced stem. Yes, it is also true. Mint is an example for stolon. It is also true. Mesocarp of coconut is fleshy. This is wrong. Mesocarp of coconut is dry husk. You can look at this picture, you will get an idea. Next is assertion, underground part of a plant are not always roots. Yes, underground part of plants are not always roots. Example, stem is modified into an underground rhizome. So underground parts of plant are not always roots. Reason, roots modify themselves to perform function other than absorption and conduction of water. So both are correct. So the correct answer is both A and R are correct. R is the correct explanation of assertion A. Next question is, identify the correct labeling of the parts of the given diagram. So I already explained. So D is the root cap. So where it is root cap, and D Option D is the correct. D is the root cap, C is the region of meristematic activity, B is the region of elongation, A is the region of maturation. This is option D is the correct. Next is the main function of stem are that. What is the main function of the stem? It bears and support foliage, flowers and fruits. It stores food in, first option is correct. It bears and support foliage, flowers, fruits. It stores food in its parenchyma cells. Parenchyma cells does not store food. It helps in the buoyancy, so it does not help in stores the food. It adds new cells, tissues, organs every year to keep continuing the function of the plant for a longer period of time. Yes, it is true. It actually divides. Leaf-like flattened modified stem are called the thallus. It is a wrong. It is not called as thallus, it is called as phylloclade. So option 1 and 3 are correct. Where 1 and 3 is present? Option C contains 1 and 3. So option C is correct. Match the following. Underground stem, where you can observe underground stem you can observe in the potato. Example, tuber. Stem tendril you can observe in the cucumber. Stem thorns, citrus. Flattened stem you can observe in the opuntia. So option 4 is the correct answer. Next comes the, in which of the following plant the stem perform the dual function of food storage and vegetative propagation? So in which of the following plant the stem performs the dual function of food storage and vegetative propagation? If you look at the option carrot and radish, it is a modified root. So option C and D is a wrong. Option A is also wrong. Option B, as this is ginger is a modified stem. It helps in the food storage and even vegetative propagation. Next question is, oral phyllotaxy is seen in. So when you look at a oral phyllotaxy, you will get an example, that is Alstonia. Alstonia is an example for oral phyllotaxy. Next question is, which of the below show correct combination? Pistia, yes, it is a modified stem. Name of the modification is offset, purpose is reproduction, correct. P is a modified stem. Name of the modification is tendril, climbing. Where is this correct? Yeah, in the P it is not a stem, it is a modified leaf into tendril and its purpose is climbing. In opuntia not a leaf, it is modified stem, so it helps in the foot. This is also wrong. Bougainvillea, here also it is a modified stem, not a leaf. So the option only 1 is correct. So Pistia is the correct answer. And the next is, the scars on the stem of the coconut are sheathing leaf base. If you look at a coconut tree, you can observe a circular scar that is at the younger stage. It is covered by a leaf sheath base. So sheathing leaf base, first one is correct. Persistent calyx, at its node it does not bears a flower, so persistent calyx is also wrong. Persistent leaf base, again this is the correct answer. At its nodes only it has a persistent leaf base. Stipule also wrong, it does not contain stipule. So option 1 and 3 is a correct answer. Next question is, suppose a plant has tuberous roots and rhizome, both as underground structure. How can you distinguish a root from rhizome? How you will distinguish root from rhizome? If you look at this structure, root has no scale leaves or nodes and internodes. Yes, root doesn't have scale leaves or nodes and internodes. It is present only in the stem. And if you look at this option B, root is thick and rhizome is thinner. If you look at this, root is thick, rhizome is thinner, but in the picture if you observe, rhizome is thick, root is thin. Root remains non-green and rhizome becomes green on exposure to sunlight. So this is also wrong answer. Root bears root hairs and rhizome does not bears any hairs. Even rhizome contains this hairs-like structure. So correct answer is root has no scale leaves or nodes and internodes. This is the correct definition for the difference between the root and the rhizome. And the next is identify the type of inflorescence the flower following diagram. So as I already told, if younger flower at the base and older at the tip, which inflorescence it is? Cymose. Racemose and simple racemose, it has a younger at the tip, older at the base. And the next question is, a flower without non-essential oral is, without non-essential oral is, it is called acchlamydomonas. Acchlamydomonas, it is called as acchlamydomonas. And the next, match the following. Calyx, calyx, the number of calyx means it is termed as a sepals. Corolla, petals. Androecium, stamen. Gynoecium, pistil. So the correct answer is C. Option C is the correct answer. And the next question is, the corolla petals 1 plus 2 plus 2 of Papilionaceae are respectively called keel, standard wings, no. Standard keel wings, no. If you look at this bigger one is called as standard and other two are called wings, and the below two wings is called a keel where they are fused, and here 1 plus 2 plus and it is another 2 is closed by a bracket because it is a fused petal. Option C is the right answer. Standard wings, keel. Next is the non-essential parts of flowers are, which are the non-essential parts of flowers? Sepals and petals are the non-essential parts of flowers. The next is, all the orals of a flower are borne on, as I already told, all the orals of 4 kinds of orals present on a swollen region that is called thalamus. Petiole, wrong. Pedicel is also wrong. Floral axis is also wrong. The next is perianthus. What is perianth? So in the monocot, it does not have any petals or sepals, so it is termed as perianth. So answer is, when sepals and petals are not distinguishable, it is called perianth. The next is, a non-functional stamen is called staminode. Not, option A is wrong. A non-functional stamen is called staminode. Which of the following are endospermous seed? Endospermous seed. All pulses are non-endospermic seeds. Non-endospermic seed. So bean and gram both are pulses. Pea and sunflower, it is also pulses. Maize and castor, maize is a cereal. So option C is a correct answer. Option D, orchids and pea, again it contains endosperm. Epicarp, mesocarp and endocarp are the components of dash in mango and coconut. Epicarp, mesocarp and endocarp are the components of dash in mango and coconut. Just remember, as I already told, the fruit has 2 parts, pericarp, wall of pericarp and seed. Wall of pericarp is differentiated into epicarp, mesocarp, endocarp. When they differentiate, when the pericarp is fleshy, at that time only it is differentiated to epicarp, mesocarp, endocarp. So the correct answer is C, the pericarp of the fruit. Next question is, pentamerous actinomorphic flowers, bicarpellary with oblique septa and fruit capsule or berry are characteristic features of family. So while explaining Solanaceae, as I told, there is a important character in the floral characters. So it has a oblique septa. It has. So answer is D, option D, Solanaceae. Only in the Solanaceae family it has a oblique septa. Pentamerous actinomorphic flower, it is also present in Brassica also, but in Brassica also, bicarpellary with oblique septa present only in Solanaceae. Next question, give the symbol of bicarpellary syncarpous superior ovary. Superior ovary is denoted by G and a line below the gene, and it is a syncarpous means fused ovary. Where it is fused? number option A, option B. It is already told bicarpellary, so 2, it is represented by 2, and it is a syncarpus. Syncarpus is now termed by a bracket, that is fused form. Option A is the correct answer. Next question, match the following. Epipetalous in brinjal. Epipetalous means the stamens are attached to the petals. Stamens are attached. Option 3. Epiphyllous in lily. Epiphyllous in lily. Epiphyllous means stamens are attached to perianth. Option 2, right answer is 1. Monoadelphous in China rose. Monoadelphous means one bundle of, and only one bundle. All and stamens are united into one bundle. Option 2. Diadelphous means 2 bundles. Option 4. Polyadelphous, more than 2 bundles. Tetra or didynamous means variation in filament length. Option C is the correct answer. Thank you.